So why do some men in their 30s and 40s feel completely empty inside? This morning I was speaking to one of my clients. Very wealthy client. He's got a successful business, makes 7 figures, but he came to me because he said, "Look man, I need your help. I've got the wealth, but I feel completely empty inside." So there are certain areas that I'm helping him with, which I'm going to share with you in today's video, that I want you to pay close attention to. This video isn't for those that want to be average. This video is for those that want more out of life. So there are 3 pillars of success that I want you to pay attention to. It's your health, wealth, and relationships. And all 3 must align. Because at the end of the day, there's no point of having wealth if you've neglected your health. If you don't have a relationship. There's no point of having all that money if you're just all alone. And on the flip side, I've also coached men who came to me with amazing physiques, but they also feel empty inside. And let's talk about relationships. If you've got a relationship, but you haven't focused on wealth, you've neglected your health in the process, then your relationship is also going to suffer, right? You're still going to feel empty. And me personally, when I was 29 years old, I ran my first company. It was grossing around $400,000 a year. However, there was a lot of overheads, a lot of expenses. I was responsible for paying wages for 20 employees. But at the time, I wasn't doing too bad. And I remember the way I was living my life. I was always pleasure chasing. I was buying vehicles, jewelry, clothes, and there was no means to an end. I was stuck in this cycle because I was seeking happiness externally, and I'd feel more and more empty inside. So with the cars, I'd want to keep modifying my cars. With the clothes, I'd want to just keep buying branded clothes. I had that penthouse, but I still felt empty. I neglected my health in the process. I was 30% body fat, which is classified as obese, and that also ruined my relationship at the time. So I know what it feels like to some degree to only focus on one area, but neglect the other areas. And essentially that's what you want to focus on. But let's talk about health. There are 3 dimensions of health. There's your mental health, physical health, and your spiritual health. And let's talk about mental health. All right, your mindset, discipline, emotional control. That only comes from removing vices from your life. That only comes from making that ultimate sacrifice. Right? You don't want to keep engaging in low frequency habits. You're only going to feel more shame and guilt, which is going to start to compromise your mental health. And you've got to pay attention to these low frequency emotions because these are signs. Whenever you feel this way, it's essentially your internal state out of synchronicity. You need to really focus on switching those habits into habits that actually serve you. Habits that won't leave you feeling empty. Make you feel those shame and guilt emotions that you're experiencing. You want to be experiencing the high frequency emotions. And that comes from making the ultimate sacrifices. So the high frequency emotions that you want to feel is self-love, inner peace, joy, gratitude, acceptance. And when you feel this way, this is your internal state. This is your inner reality. This is how you perceive the world. And this is what you attract back into your life. So once your internal state is good, your external world becomes good. Your mindset goes from fear and scarcity to an abundance mindset. Because you're thinking clearly now. You're in a better mood. You're full of energy. And you just want more out of life. But when I say more, you want the right things out of life, right? You don't want the things that don't serve you anymore. You want the things that bring you inner fulfillment, bring you peace and joy. And another component which ties in to your mental health is also your physical health. This is very important. This is the foundation. You got to understand that if your body is weak, your mind and spirit follows. And you more than likely neglected your health, especially if you focused on that one area, right? Just making money. And because you only focused on making money, your health deteriorated in the process. Look, nothing against making money. At the end of the day, success when it comes to money can mean different amounts to different people, right? For some, it might be millions of dollars. For others, it might be 6 figures. So there has to be a certain amount for you that you think, okay, this is going to give me a quality life. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that fitness is a priority in your life, right? Healthy body, healthy mind. I remember when I was making that money at 29 years old, I was 30% body fat. I was unhealthy. I was obese. So I know what it feels like. So you're more than likely either overweight right now, indulging in junk foods, again, which is another vice. You've got low energy, low testosterone. And you've got to understand that when you're in your 30s and your 40s, you can really age very quickly. I know a lot of guys that are in their 30s that look almost like they're 50 years old. So at the end of the day, when you focus on your health, when you start respecting your body, your vessel, your temple, and you start ingesting the right foods, you get yourself to a healthy body fat percentage, anywhere between 12 to 15%, and you prioritize your health in that regard, you're going to feel amazing. You're going to age a lot better. You're going to age like fine wine. You're going to be able to attract younger women, but you don't want to be dealing with these low value women, right? At the end of the day, you want to focus on attracting the right types of women, which we'll talk about relationships shortly. But for the most part, when you focus on having a good physique, you could be in your 30s and 40s and feel completely confident. You could feel better than you did in your 20s because you've optimized your health. You've prioritized sleep. You've prioritized ingesting the right foods. And as a byproduct, you feel good, you look good, you've got better energy, higher test levels, and you're just a better person to be around. And let's face it, when you see someone that has a good physique, you think to yourself, man, that guy's disciplined. He looks good. Because at the end of the day, you can't buy a physique. It's something you need to build. So I know that when I see another man that has a good physique, I give him a lot of respect because I know what it takes to build that physique. I've been at 30% body fat. And I know what it feels like to be that way, right? No one respects you. Women don't respect you. Men don't respect you. It doesn't matter if you've got money. If you're overweight and you've got money, I don't respect that individual. I'll respect the individual that's overweight that puts his hand up and says, hey man, I need some help. I'm out of shape. I feel like shit. My relationship's suffering. That's the winner at the end of the day, right? If you want to have more intimacy with a woman, if you want to be better in the bedroom, you need to have a good physique. It gives you so much confidence. It gives you social status. And let's face it, whenever we meet someone, we can only go by face value, right? When we first meet that person. Even if they're a good person inside, when we look at them, we judge them by their appearance. And that's just human nature. So at the end of the day, you cannot neglect your physical health. It's something that you really need to focus on, especially in your 30s and 40s. If you've let yourself go, this is an area that you really need to prioritize. Or you're really going to start aging. You're going to get low value women or no women at all. You're not going to be able to network with the right individuals because the guys that are those high successful individuals, the ones that are in good shape, the ones that have wealth, the ones that have relationships, they only want to hang around other men that don't trash themselves, other men that want more out of life, other men that have the right daily habits. And you'd want other men that are only wanting to improve in life, right? Part of your circle. It doesn't matter if they're at the very bottom, as long as they're on their come up and they're striving for greatness. You want these people in your life, right? You want to be able to inspire and help those, bring everyone up together. So physical health was a massive area of my life that really changed, right? If it wasn't for me prioritizing my physical health, this YouTube channel wouldn't exist. It's what's allowed me to be consistent with this channel. It's what's allowed me to be more disciplined within myself. It's helped me with my mindset. It's helped me with my belief system, my confidence, my charisma. If I didn't focus on building a lean physique, I wouldn't be able to get in front of the camera. I wouldn't be able to make these sorts of videos. I wouldn't be able to network with other high value men. I wouldn't be able to attract a beautiful woman that complements my life. Fitness was literally the foundation that helped me when I started to rebuild myself. I just focused on what was within my control. But that's an area that you really need to prioritize. And then we've got spiritual health. Okay, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about having a connection, having purpose, having a mission in life, something greater that you're striving towards, a greater why. Essentially, it's a high frequency way of living life, having that internal fulfillment, being in that abundant state. And this comes from, again, having the right habits, consistency, discipline. And when you have that internal fulfillment, when you have that purpose, when you're striving towards your goals, this is where you're spiritually aligned. This is where you feel good about yourself. And that's why I say in a lot of my videos, you need to make sure that you're mentally, physically, and spiritually aligned in order to have fulfillment. All three need to be aligned with one another. So this is essentially part of your new identity, right? Focusing on these three dimensions. And the next step, once you get complete control over yourself and you know who you are now, and you've got that internal fulfillment, then you focus on the next area, which is wealth. And you focus on doing something that you're passionate about doing, something that makes money, something that gives you fulfillment, gives you joy. And when you make that money, you're not going to spend it on pointless things, right? Because you're mentally, physically, and spiritually aligned. You're operating through your highest self, the 2.0 version. So you're not going to seek external happiness at this point because you're already feeling in abundance internally. So essentially you're good. You don't need all these other things externally, but that's when the universe gives you all those things because you're not living in a state of lack. You're already living in your desired reality. So all those things that you want, they end up coming to you because you're already living in abundance. And that's why I say you got to master these three dimensions of health, right? If you want more out of life, if you want to make more money, you want a nice car, you want this, you want that, already seek happiness in your current reality now without those things. Don't let external things define you, right? Feel complete internally with what you have. Keep chasing more, have goals, have dreams, but just already live in abundance. So the next pillar is relationships. And when you've got a good relationship within yourself, that's when you can have a good relationship with another person, right? That's when you can be in a relationship with a woman and strive in that relationship. Again, because you have that internal fulfillment, because you're spiritually aligned, you've got that purpose, you're striving towards greatness, you're not complacent. You're going to have a better relationship because you're not going to make the woman the center of your world. Because at the end of the day, I've been very fortunate to work with very successful men, but they're lacking in relationships. The women that they meet are low value women. They are more interested in how much money the person makes, what's in his wallet. And these guys buy them gifts, buy them this, buy them that. But there's no genuine connection with this woman. She's only with you for the money, right? It's because you've done it to yourself. You've only just focused on the one area. But at the end of the day, it's all a learning lesson. So you don't want to have a relationship with someone who genuinely doesn't want to be with you, who doesn't have a genuine burning desire towards you. You don't want to get used, right? You don't want to be one of those guys that puts a woman on a pedestal and just pays for everything and gets nothing back in return. She doesn't complement your life. So when you have internal fulfillment, which comes from prioritizing your health, mentally, physically, and spiritually, that's when you experience those high frequency emotions. And because that's your internal state, because you've rebuilt your identity, you're proud of who you are, you've got high self-worth, you're able to put boundaries in place, you're able to maintain a relationship. But not only that, think about it, you're in the best shape of your life, you're going to attract a high value woman. You're going to attract a woman that you actually want to be in a relationship with and not waste your time with low value women, not relying on your wallet to buy their affection and love. It has to come naturally. And if you want it to come naturally, if you want a good woman to join your journey in life as a man and you've got that money, you need to focus on optimizing your health. You need to focus on having that internal fulfillment. You need to be in the best shape of your life, right? There's no way around this. And you don't want to be alone, right? You don't want to live a life where you've got money, but you're alone. No one really genuinely wants to be with you, right? The money doesn't mean shit if you've got to spend your life alone. I'm not saying rush and get in a relationship. Obviously, if you've got a good relationship within, you don't need someone else to make you feel fulfilled, right? But that's the time when you're actually ready to be in a relationship and meet a good woman, not just any woman, because you're ready to receive at that point. Because you don't need her to complete you. She just becomes a byproduct of your life that you've already built at this point. So if you want a woman to respect you for who you are and not for what you have in your bank account or your wallet, then yes, you need to do the work. You need to focus on getting yourself aligned, right? It starts with yourself. It starts with your identity. It's not about all the things that you own. It's about who you are, your purpose, your mission. Are you striving for more? Are you putting a dent in the universe, right? As I said, it doesn't matter if you're at the starting point of your journey. What matters is you've gotten yourself right. You're proud of the man that you've built. You feel fulfilled internally. And then when you have the wealth and you've got that woman by your side, Now you're thriving in life because you focused on these three pillars: health, wealth, and relationships. And think about the legacy that you get to leave behind. Think about what people are going to say about you one day when you pass away. You don't want to be remembered as the guy that just had money. You want to be remembered as the guy that helped other people, that inspired others, that was the right role model. You were the right partner. You were the right father. You set the right example. There was so much wisdom that you passed on to your kids, your future kids, right? So understand that you're always going to feel empty if you just focus on the one area. I've coached many men who are very successful when it comes to finances, but they were lacking other areas of their life. And that's why they came to me, right? Because they wanted that internal fulfillment, that area that was missing, that important area, more than money. As I said, don't forget money. You need to have money, right? It gives you a better quality life, but you need to focus on those three pillars. And that's something that I really had to understand the hard way. So outside my business, I focus on my personal development. I make sure I get myself right each and every morning. So I'm mentally, physically, and spiritually aligned before the day begins. When I do that, I make more money, right? Because I'm already in abundance. I'm not chasing money. I already have everything that I need. And because I'm operating through my higher self, because I have that internal fulfillment, will I have a better relationship with my partner? I'm able to maintain my relationship a lot more better. She gets a better version of me. So if you're a successful man and you're watching this right now and you've got the wealth, but you feel empty inside, it's more than likely because you've neglected your health, right? Pay attention to those three dimensions of health. And when you focus on that, you'll therefore then be able to attract a good woman into your life, a woman that complements your life, a woman that has a genuine burning desire towards you, that isn't after just your money, that wants to create a future with you, that wants to have a family with you. So you've got the money, you're in the best shape, mentally, physically, and spiritually, and you've got a woman that loves you, that complements your life. You have beautiful children. This is the dream life, man. This is where you feel completely fulfilled. But you must prioritize all three areas. And that's why I say I always prioritize my personal development first. Before making money, before talking to my partner in the morning, I always get myself right. I always give myself 1 hour every single day towards my personal development. Without that, every area of my life suffers. My money suffers, my relationship suffers. So I know that I need to get myself right each and every day. So if you're watching this and you relate with this video and you need some help, you might have the money, but you're lacking the internal fulfillment, I can help you get there. I can help you have that internal fulfillment. I can help you prioritize those areas that are most important, right? And that's the work that I love to do because, as I said, I've done it for myself. I'm currently doing it now. I'm helping other men in the process as well. So I can help you do the same. So if you need that help, you want to have that internal fulfillment, you can click the link down below. You can book a free one-to-one coaching call with me, and I'll see if you're the right fit for my program. But look, I hope this video has helped you. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me keep making valuable content. If you like the video, give it a like. It always helps the algorithm. And if you want to share your comments down below, drop your comments. I'll respond to each and every one of you. But look, I'm ending the video here. I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.